Hello, everybody. Just turning my volume up here. All right. Just trying to get situated. So, today we are going to be talking with Madame Pamita. So, I see her popping on. So, as soon as she gets on, we'll request and get her on here. She knows the drill. It is so windy here, and it has been for the last 2 days. My internet was out all morning. So that's why I'm like on my phone right now. Hi.
Hi, how are
Good.
you?
Oh, your hair looks cute.
I got it cut at winter solstice.
Yeah.
I had my COVID project of growing my hair, which was wild. I think it's the longest it's ever gotten. It was down below my
Yeah.
waist.
It was
Uh,
long when I saw you last.
yeah, yeah. And I said winter solstice. I had gone through such like a hard fall, and I'm like, this is the time. I'm gonna get a haircut. So I got my 80s throwback goth girl
Oh, I'm
hair now.
here for it. Oh my God, it's awesome. It looks so good. I love it. Hold on. I'm in space. I have my heater on because I'm freezing. Oh, so done. So
Yeah.
how are you?
I'm
Good.
great. I'm so happy to just to get to hang out with
I
you.
I know, because we never have enough time when we're at all the things, because we're always running around doing this, that, and the other. So it
Exactly,
definitely works
exactly.
out. Definitely works
Yeah.
out. So you are been very busy lately, huh?
Oh my gosh, I'm really cuckoo right now because I'm working on a new book that's due middle of April. And
Oh,
I gotta get that done. So I'm not announcing it. I have like a little superstition, like I don't announce my books until after the cover comes out, but
right.
what they're going to be about. But it's been such a fun, amazing research adventure working on this book. It's
Oh,
something
that's so.
I think everybody's going to love. I think this is
Oh
going
my
to
gosh.
appeal to so many people. So yeah, yeah,
Oh,
it's
I'm
a
excited about it.
yeah.
Well, and I love that you always put so much into your books and in the research of your books. Like I know even when I talked to you the last time about your Baba Yaga book, like you were like lost in the research. Like I
So
don't
many
know if you were coming
tears.
back.
So many tears making that book. It was so hard to make that book. Like I mean, like I've gotten it, I think each book you get this, like each
Mhm.
deck, each thing, each project. Not only do you get to experience and learn about the topic, but you get to learn about the process of writing and creating, right?
Mhm. Oh,
So,
absolutely.
oh my gosh. So like my tarot book, my first book was Magical Tarot, released with an audio book where I'm doing
Oh, awesome. Oh, I
yeah,
love that.
yeah, I was really adamant because I'm a person who talks to people. I have
Mhm.
YouTube channel, I have, Instagram, I have podcasts, I have, Q&As, I teach. So I feel like the author,
Oh, we froze a little
I
bit.
had a super passion about that. And so when they came to me and they said, do you want to do an audiobook? And I said, great. I'd love to, but I want to do the
Mhm.
narration. And Wiser was so open to that. It was
Oh,
so
good.
wonderful. So when the new release of the book came out, the audio book came out. So if you want to listen to tarot content and deepen your connection, particularly to the Rider-Waite Smith deck, this is a wonderful way. You can just like go on your walk, you can be driving, you can really learn about tarot while you're doing other things, and I think that's something that we don't see a lot of tarot books out there that have audiobooks. So this is a really good one for that.
Yeah, and I love too when the author reads it. I don't know. It's just something.
Same.
It's just. I'm. Did I freeze out a little? Okay,
Yeah.
I had to go. My inner like the ice. The wind is so bad today. But I don't know. There's just something about, and then it's like I don't know. I feel like just the nuances of you talking, and if and most people follow you, so they know how you teach, they know how I don't know, I just feel like it just like resonates better.
Yeah. I just love to hear the author's voice because the author understands the content. It's
Mhm.
not a robot or AI voices, which are awful
No,
to
they
me.
are.
Or,
They're so
yeah.
cringy.
Yeah. And so I feel like that the author is going to put their emphasis on certain things, give nuance to certain things, and how we say things really
Hmm.
matters. So anyway, so that oh, we were talking about tears. We were talking about tears, I
Yeah.
guess, of tears of Baba Yaga, the tears of Baba Yaga.
Yeah.
Um, oh my
Alternate
gosh.
title.
Yeah. Exactly. But it was an amazing experience writing that book, and how each thing you do, oh, that's where we were on this, how each thing
Yeah.
you do informs. And so when I was doing, I was saying tarot book was kind of my first book, Magical Tarot.
Hmm.
And so I learned a lot about writing process from that. My second book, Book of Candle Magic, the most breeziest experience. I was like writing
Right.
that in airports, on trains. I was in England. We were just like in France, and we were hanging out, and I was just like because I've been doing candle magic for
Yeah.
many, many decades, right?
For sure.
So that was very easy. And then comes the Baba Yaga's Book of Witchcraft, which was so hard because there's so many layers of, like, you have to dig through Russian imperialism. You have to dig through the USSR, suppression of culture. You have
Hmm.
to translate things from another language. It
Yeah.
was wild
Wow.
doing the research for that. And so that's why I had tears, because I would come up with something and I'd be like so close, and then I wouldn't find it. It was like an archaeological dig. It was
Right.
wild. So, um, yeah, so this book is much easier than I'm working on now. Cancer Witch, of course, was very easy because all I had to do
Hmm.
was write about my experience as a Cancer, being a
Yeah.
witch, and my perspective. So that was very fun. And working with Eva was amazing. And Alicia, the editor
Hmm.
there, was amazing. So, yeah, that's every book is different.
Right.
And um, so you learn more about writing books from writing books.
It's
You
so
learn more about
true.
painting from painting. You learn more about deck creation from deck
Right.
creation. So
Right. No, and that's what I'm in the middle of my book right now. And it was one of those things. It was okay this way, and then they decided to change things, and so it's like I'm revising it. But then, and it involves the moon, so it's like the research on that, and just going in and finding all of these, studies that were done to relate it to what I'm writing about. And it is like it just opens up all these different things that you're just like, oh, and then you go down that hole, and then it's like making sure you don't go too far down the hole where it's not related to anymore, but you want to know about it.
I am guilty as charged. I
Oh,
love to go down a rabbit hole.
that's the other day. I was like, actually, a funny story. So I had like these little like green tea caffeine gummies with vitamins in it or whatever, and I'll eat one in here and there, whatever. So I was in the middle of this like research paper about the moon and how it affects people and all of these things. And I grabbed one and I ate it. And I usually eat two. And my God, and then I went to grab another one, and they were like clumped together, and there was like five clumped together, and I just popped it in my mouth. And afterwards, I was like, oh shit, what did I just do? I was wired for hours. And it doesn't even have that much caffeine in it, but it was like all at once. And I'm like, shit, I wasn't paying attention because I was so involved in that. And yeah, so it happens. It happens.
That's funny. That's
Oh
funny.
my God. Yeah, that wasn't one of my prouder moments. That's for sure. Oh my God. Jay's like, what did you do? I'm like, I might have a heart attack, so just watch me. And he just had eye surgery, so he can't even drive. He's like, I can't drive you. So what is happening? I'm like, I'll be fine. I'll be fine. It was
That's
so
funny.
stupid.
That's like a Monster
Oh,
energy drink or whatever,
oh my
Bang energy
God.
drink.
So dumb. It's, so yeah, I'll just have to admit that I did that. But so while we talk about magical tarot, I do have that right here. And it's, and I really do actually, I love how you break it down and you add an affirmation to it and everything, because I feel like for people who are really starting, it helps them remember, kind of the gist of the card and all of that kind of thing. So, and each one, for anyone who doesn't have it, it's all written out here. It has a picture of the card, and then symbols, and then the wizard's words of wisdom. I like that. what it signifies in a reading, journal question, and an affirmation. So I really, I love how it's set up. It's just so simple, easy to read. And even for somebody who knows tarot, it's like this is like one of those books that it's really good just to pick up and just to read through, to refresh, like just to, oh yeah, okay. Because, I think too, when people read for so long, they kind of get stuck in their rut of this is how I do it. So when you go back to those basics, it kind of refreshes that newness, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right. I can look at it this way too, not just the way I'm always thinking of it, right? So I really think I really do like how have it all. And this is available from Wiser.
Yeah.
So this one is Wiser.
So
And
Judica, I want to say one thing about that. Judica
yeah,
Illis was my editor on that book, she's an amazing editor. I mean, she is
yeah,
an amazing witch and an amazing writer in her own right. She's
right.
like one of my icons. And I was so grateful to be able to do that book with her. And she, who has been reading for decades as well, and reading Rider Waite, like she and I both lean on Rider Waite or Rider Waite, influence decks.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, you pointed out things in the deck that I haven't ever seen.
Right.
And like details and symbols and things like that. And she loved it. She loved it. And so that to me was like the biggest stamp of approval that I could
Oh,
get. Mary Kay Greer, Rachel Pollack, both did blurbs for me, which
yeah.
was again like such an honor.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
and Rachel, oh my gosh, Rachel, just uh the so it is a book that is great for beginners, but it's not just for beginners because it teaches you how to use tarot in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
like doing journaling thoughtfully, or not just like journaling like a tarot journal, but journaling about the question, or adding an affirmation, looking deeply at those symbols and so on. So it looks at it, like takes it in a different direction.
Right.
And there's even a chapter in there where I talk about how you can use tarot in ways other than doing a reading.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, something that we don't, as magicians, don't often do. We
Right.
think of tarot as being, oh, this is my divination system, my divination device, and this is my magic stuff over here. And in here, that's why it's called magical tarot, because it's like, how can you bring your tarot into your magical practice as well, and as
Yeah.
well as spiritual practice, so
Yeah,
yeah.
for sure. And I think too, because there's a lot of people, for some reason, I feel like I've just run across that they don't like to even read for themselves. Like they just don't like to do it. And to me, I'm like, why? But sometimes I think because they feel like they don't even know what to ask. So even with you having that journal question in there, kind of gives that starting jumping point,
Yeah.
and then it, throughout the cards, the different questions. So as you're doing that, then I think it'll also help you form questions for yourself as you're
Yeah.
working.
Well, one of the things is I don't advocate for people to do a full reading for
Mhm.
themselves. Like I would never, I myself don't do a like Celtic cross for myself,
Yeah, yeah.
because the trick is that enough about the cards, and everything about your situation.
Hmm.
So you could say, you could look at, oh, Five of Cups, is he coming back to me? Ten of Swords, is he
Right.
coming? And you can make it mean whatever you want it to
No,
mean. And
you
that's what,
can, you can, you
yeah.
can.
And people don't have that discernment of like what's intuition and what's me projecting what
Yeah.
I want it to mean. So that's why I wouldn't say a blanket statement of never read for yourself, but to do a full reading for yourself, I think is very tricky. And for a beginner who doesn't know how to identify their
Hmm.
intuition and what's their intuitive voice, or what's their fear. I mean, it could be the fear
Yeah,
comes up too. It
yeah,
could be
absolutely.
it could be the wishful thinking comes up.
Right.
So to how to distinguish those, that's why there are these exercises that are not actually a reading, but can actually give you insight. So if you pull a card and then do the reflection question,
Hmm.
you are kind of doing a reading for yourself, but it's taking you out of what do I want this to mean?
Right.
Versus, you know what I mean? Or even just working with an affirmation. So it's other ways that you can connect to your cards. But yeah, I don't say don't read for yourself, but I think especially for beginners who haven't yet learned how to hear that little small voice inside,
Right.
which is our intuition, it's just then becomes confusing and
Hmm.
difficult. And
Yeah. And you have like 50, then there's like 50 cards all over the place and you don't know what's
I want to
happening.
another clarifying card, another
Wait,
clarifying card
let me just put her
till I
another
get to the
card.
lovers,
Wait,
right?
let me get another one. I mean, it's totally, and then, and I think, we've all done that at one point, and when like, oh, what did we just do here? And that's why, I really do like having those journal questions and all, because it's also kind of, it's not your question, you're not asking the question, but it still can relate to what you want to know, like you said. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like that roundabout way to do it.
yeah,
And and I think by working with that you can also kind of hone your intuition and start learning, oh, okay, so this popped up and this symbol popped up and from the book it says it's this. Oh, that makes sense. And it's like building on that, and I think that's so helpful, especially, and I like you said, anyone, because people, when you read for so long, you sometimes you don't look at the symbols unless it's super jumping out at you or something. And it's definitely a very good tool to
yeah.
use. Very good. And I love the audio book too. I mean, I think that's great. Just a refresher, like just pop it on when you're doing stuff and just listen to it.
Yeah. One of the things that I love about tarot books, and I teach this when I teach tarot,
Mm-hmm.
is to, when you're at the beginning, it's not really helpful to look at books because I want the students to like trust their own intuition, like to step out on that tightrope wire
Right.
themselves to make their own interpretation. But when you get to sort of, there's a certain level where you start to, okay, I think I know what this means. I got an idea of what this card means. It's very helpful to look at lots of different tarot books to see what other people have to say. And what I find is you can look through a tarot book and go like, yeah, I want to add that to my understanding of this card, or like, no, I don't resonate
Right.
with that. And I
Right.
think that that researching and looking, like I have a shelf, a full, maybe even more than a full shelf of tarot
Right.
books that are other people's tarot books.
Mm-hmm.
And that is after I've culled a bunch of them because I had a lot of them and I'm like, I don't
Right.
use this one. I'm going to take this out. But to look at what someone else has to say about the Empress versus your understanding of the Empress, or to look at what someone else has to say about Three of Swords versus your understanding of Three of Swords, is a great way to really have that wide range of meaning that then you can pull up intuitively, right?
Right.
The intuition is going to be
Mm-hmm.
like, I almost think, in my mind, I'm visualizing a bag of runes, right?
Yeah.
Each card is a bag of runes. Each single card is a bag of
Right.
runes, because it's like, is the Empress meaning abundance? Is the Empress meaning fertility? Is the Empress meaning love? Is the
Right.
Empress meaning empowerment? I mean, all of those are like different runes that you can pull out in a different reading. So the richer and more faceted your understanding of each card, the bigger your bag is, so that when you do a reading for someone, you're like, oh, in your case, the Empress means about sovereignty and self-love, right? Because that's one of your understandings. And then another person may get the same card, but it's a totally different intuitive hit that comes up. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's why I encourage people to have lots of tarot books.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I, and I think even that, and then also just getting readings from different readers, I think
100%.
is, I mean, and I think, just again, like you said, like you could be doing a reading for someone and then you got a reading from another reader and something that they said will pop in your head during that reading. Like, oh yeah, well, so-and-so was talking about this and this totally relates to this person's situation. But if you're, if you're trying to stick yourself in this little box, like I know this and this is what I mean, you're just, and it's like what I tell my kids, when you think you know everything, that means you know nothing.
Exactly.
Like I would
Exactly.
always say that to them because, oh, I know, especially when they're teenagers, they know everything. And I'm like, oh, no, you know nothing. But it is, it's, once you get to that point, that you're comfortable with your intuition, and then you do start kind of diving in more into tarot and the research of it and reading other books and getting other perspectives, and that just deepens your readings for everybody, everybody else. So I think that, it's definitely, and that's why there's so many tarot books, because that's a thing you'll hear, especially on the internet, that, oh, there's so many tarot books and they're all the same, and it's like, no,
No,
they're actually
no.
not. They're so different. And I mean, like I have so many tarot books, and they're all different because they all have that different perspective. They can't be this unless you're, going straight from the Rider-Waite-Smith guidebook from way back then, and it's like, I don't know, that's what I had when I first started, because the internet wasn't a thing,
Yeah.
and it was awful.
Yeah.
It was so
I
awful.
can
I
say at
learned from
first,
that.
exactly. At first thing I say when someone buys a Rider Waite Smith deck is throw out the little white book,
Yes.
because it actually has things that aren't even corresponding, because Waite had ideas about what he wanted the cards to look like, especially the
Mm-hmm.
minor arcana cards. And Pamela Coleman Smith went in her own direction, and then they never changed the book.
Yes.
And so he was kind of shoehorning the stuff that he had
Right.
into her images, but it doesn't work.
Right.
I trust her as the artist more than I trust him as the maybe the guy that made it happen. I would say more
Right.
than anything, but it's like that book can be so confusing and
It is
so
so
it's
confusing.
I think if you get to a certain point, I think like every book, you can look at it. Maybe it was a gift that that book is such a crappy book,
Right.
because it made people, inspired people to trust themselves on the meaning of the cards.
Right.
Maybe that's a good
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
So
No.
there's
Well.
no Bible for the
Right.
tarot.
Right, right. And seriously, because I know, as I was 13, 14 years old trying to read this, and I'm looking at the card, and I'm looking at the little, and I'm like, it's like not even the same thing. Like, what's going on here? So
Exactly.
it's definitely, it's interesting how that all evolved. But like you said, I think it's a good thing, because then it kind of opened that up to everybody sharing their interpretations. And there's, even though there's a lot of us readers, it doesn't mean that there's too many, because again, just like the books, there's different perspectives everywhere. So and that's one of my big things, is that I love to get readings from other people, because if I have somebody that comes to me and I know that we're probably not going to resonate, like, it's just, you just know when the energy is different. It's just,
Yeah.
and it's not a bad thing. It just happens, that's just how it is. I'll refer out, I'll be like, what, I, so and so, I think it's going to be a better fit for you. Why don't you go ahead and try them instead of, me, and whatever. And I don't have any problem doing that. And I think that it's so important to know that it's okay to do that, instead of just doing a reading and then having a crap reading. And then
Yeah.
neither of you are going to benefit from that.
Yeah, and I think also too, as a tarot reader, for tarot readers to get readings from other readers, you always learn, like, people's, it's almost like languages. Like, we start with one language and then it branches off into many different
Right.
languages. And as a reader, you may learn something, and then as you go see other people and their techniques, I'm talking about techniques as little as like shuffling, or how they prepare for a reading, or how they end a
Yeah.
reading, and of course the interpretation of the cards. You, as a beginning reader, the person who goes in will go, oh, I like that thing that they did, I'm going to bring that into my practice, or I'm going to adapt that thing that they did and bring that into my practice. So it's an education every single time you get a reading, beyond just
Mm-hmm.
the reading itself. But for
Right.
readers, I really, really encourage them to get reading from lots of different readers. I've had readings, as we all have, from readers that are super skilled. I've also had crappy cold readings. I've had all kinds, but
Mm-hmm.
every single time I learn something from that session, just
Right.
about the art of tarot reading,
Right.
so
No, definitely, definitely. I mean, and I think too, like, when you're first starting to read, and you like read like an expo or something, that is always very eye-opening. Like, that's a learning experience right there. And I would always tell people when I'm do at least one expo, and see what, how that felt for you and what it was, because the energy in those is just, whew,
yeah, I
it's a
mean,
lot.
going into as a spectator, like, is a great experience, even if you're
Mm-hmm.
not going in as a reader. And I really like, even with conferences and things like that, if you want to present at a conference, go to the conference first so that you get a vibe. Who's
Right.
the audience there? What resonates with people? What,
Right.
and then you can put together a really great presentation that's customized for that
Yeah.
audience and that event. And then you can also know it's just great education. Plus, I know we're going down a tangent. I know. When this is where you meet your other practitioners,
Yes.
right? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, it is. I cannot overstate the value. So many opportunities, magical things, friendships happen at these in real life spaces that
Yes.
you and I go to, like we
Right.
go to, right? Like I would look at Jen and admire Jen, but to have that relationship with you, we got it because we went to conferences together.
Yeah.
That's how we developed our friendship. So I encourage people, yes, virtual things are great, but virtual things are, I mean, amazing because we can take it. We don't have to travel. We don't have to get a hotel. We don't have
Yeah.
to do
It's
all those
easy
things.
and all that.
But doing at least one event a year that either you feel attracted to or you'd like to participate in some way in some point in the future, go to these events. They are well worth the money, like
Mhm.
beyond, because you're going to have experiences, friendships, connections, opportunities. Oh my gosh, all of those things
Right.
open up when
No,
you do these.
definitely. And and then just being able to meet that person and talk to them in person, it is it's a whole different thing,
Yeah,
it really is. And I definitely, I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, the traveling, the price and whatever. It's like, even if you could just go for a day, even if you can just, and like you said, if you want to be somebody who wants to speak at conferences, I mean, it's kind of like market research, you're just like, what is this about? Like, what is this on? Because every conference has a different vibe. And
100%.
it's good to know, and it's also good to know, I think, for your own practice, like where are the people at now, like what's going on, what's kind of, what does everybody really want to know about, because maybe you're practicing something that people don't, they're not, it's not a thing right now, and now you go to these and you're like, oh, I see, they're really into this now, so maybe I need to learn more about it, or I need to, even, a lot of the people that attend are readers. Go to them, I mean, they would love that.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
You know?
great place, I think, to get quality readings is to go to the events. No, I mean, psychic fairs, you probably get a,
Yeah,
up and down,
it's
it could
like
be,
hit or
it
miss
could be
kind
a
of.
little, it's
Yeah,
like
it's a
grab
little hit or
bag. It's a grab
miss.
bag. But when you go to, I think, these other kinds of conferences, these conferences where there's classes and workshops, you can get readings there. I mean, there's so much you can do. You can meet vendors. I mean, it's just,
Yes,
they're so, so
it is.
good. And I just super recommend them to anybody that's interested in deepening their magical practice and having a community. Like we're getting out of COVID, sort
Yes.
of. So, so it's like we have to create and sustain community, and these are the ways. So I mean, my little last penny is going to travel and do these events so that I can keep those loving connections as
Yeah.
well.
No, it is. It is really important. And I think just to, because we've all been so kind of confined, and again, when we're home and we're stuck home, we're in our own little bubbles. So our practice is in a little bubble. So to be able to kind of broaden your own horizons, like again, going to these things and go to the classes, interacting with people, you may be sitting to somebody you don't know, but then you guys are working together on something, or being like, oh, that makes sense. What did you get? What did you get? And I really, I think it really does make a difference, just for you as a reader. It makes a big difference, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. But let's talk about Cancer Witch. It's such
Oh,
a pretty cover.
I
It matches
know.
your hair, matches your hair. That's all
I was so
that matters.
happy.
That's all that matters. That's,
I'm always color coordinated.
yes.
When I was very thrilled when they chose that color because it's such a beautiful, I think it's that lavender actually expresses the energy of Cancer
Yes.
so well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like loving
It's so
energy, nurturing
pretty.
energy. Yeah, sweet. I mean,
Yeah.
that's one side of Cancer, let's be
Right.
honest. There's another
Let's
side.
advertise this, okay? And no, it's got like pearls on it and flowers, and it's like, it's so pretty. It
Yeah.
definitely, they're doing a really good job with these. I
Oh, the
really,
covers are great.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so much information in this little book. Here's Cancer Witch. It's available now. And there's just so much information in these, and I think that was the one thing, because sometimes you're like, oh, it's just a little bit book, it's just a quickie thing, and I'm like, oh hell no, there's like all sorts of stuff going on in here.
Yeah. I mean, there's like spells, there's ways. I
Yeah.
mean, it's very, what I loved about it is Evo looked at it like, so the creation of this book was Evo and Alicia had this
Mhm.
idea to create this series of 12. Evo is a Sagittarius, which is perfect for this.
Oh
Perfect. Because
yeah.
I think Sag is like, kind of dabbles in a lot. So they
Right.
have an understanding. Not that they're dabblers, but they explore a lot. I'll say that. They
Right. Right.
explore many different things. So he is curious about all of the signs, not just his own sign.
Hmm.
Um, he's of course so knowledgeable and I would say one of the amazing voices in magic. He's a
Yeah.
great human and to begin with too.
Yeah.
And so they called me and they said, "Do you want to be the co-writer for Cancer Witch?" And I'm like, yeah. You don't ask me twice. I was in an airport when I got the call. I
Oh
was
my
like
God.
going somewhere. And I'm like, oh my gosh, of course, yes. So, um, so the premise of it is that he would write like half of the book and then he'd invite somebody of that sign to be the co-writer, and then he brought in other writers, contributing writers, to give a recipe or a spell or a little segment or whatever. And it was so fun thinking about, for me, thinking about how does my practice differ from somebody of another sign.
Right.
Who thinks about
I
that?
know.
We
I was
never think
gonna
about
say,
that.
like, it was not something I even like considered. And then I'm like reading this, and and there, you're actually the first of the Sunset series that I've interviewed.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes, you're the first one. And I have whichever ones are out. I have them all in a pile over here to remind me to like schedule everyone, and then I have to get Ivo on. But yeah, I mean, I didn't even think about that. And then you start reading these, and you're just like, oh, okay. It's cool. Again, it's another perspective of it. And so, like, how did you decide what you wanted to include?
Well, it was a real exercise in looking at like what are the hallmarks of my practice that relate to me being a Cancer sun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just for people with a sun sign of Cancer. This is a book for people who have a Cancer moon. Oh my gosh, the poor people with a Cancer moon, they're really I mean, I mean,
Yes.
I mean that in the most loving way, because it's like the moon is our sign, I mean, our planet,
Yes.
and it's so about the emotions and changing and ups and downs and all of that. And so when
Right.
you have your moon in Cancer, I mean, this is such, I think, an affirming book for people who have a rising, Cancer moon, Cancer sun.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you identify as Cancer, you're not a
Right.
Cancer, because I
Right.
mean,
Right.
right? You might be a water sign that goes, gosh, I'm a Pisces, but I do feel like I have Cancerian qualities, even though I have no Cancer in my chart. So I think it's like such a great book to give you insights on how what your particular gifts
Mm-hmm.
are when you have Cancer in your chart, what your probably the areas that you need support in if you have Cancer in your chart,
Right.
and how we can not only support ourselves in our identity as Cancers, but also what are we kick-ass at, like what are
Right.
we really really good at. There's some things we're really good at, and
Yeah.
so I talk about those. Yeah,
Yeah. No.
so it gives great insight. Or maybe if you don't have, if you are in a relationship with someone who's a Cancer, this is another
Yeah.
way, these books can be used. So
No,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, even too, like, in the one section here that Ivo did, he included all the moons.
Yeah.
Like, if you're a Cancer sun, but your moon's in Libra, or if your moon's in Cancer, if you're a double Cancer, or whatever. So that, I think that is also really helpful, just tying it all together. And I think, by even you talking about your practice as a Cancer, which, maybe other Cancers are like, oh, wait a minute. Okay, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, yeah, I am good at this part. Or maybe I'm going to try it this way. And then that's a whole nother, section of their practice that they're adding on, because again, it's like just getting everyone's perspectives and then using that to like build on your own, and I think that's so important. And and here you have, all the magical correspondences. Like, look how nice this is. I just love how these are set up too. I mean, it's just so, and I like how it's like almost in the middle. So it's like when you open it, like I open right to it. So I'm like, all right. But like just goals and spell ideas, magical tools, and types of spellcraft, you know? I mean, maybe there's that cancer that never even thought about doing a tea leaf reading. And you're like, oh yeah, wait, I've never even done that before. Let me see if that works. And oh wow, look, you're natural. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I
Right.
think there's something very affirming about trying new practices that are aligned with not only your maybe your interests, but
Mm-hmm.
also with your astrological makeup. There's something that you can explore there.
Yeah.
And cancers being, cardinal signs, I think we're good explorers. We like to go out and try things and start things and do
Mm-hmm.
that. And so I think this can be a great point for I think it's just to make you feel proud that you're a cancer because I was super ashamed of being a cancer when I was young. That's my confession. I have
People
a Leo
are so
rising.
mean with all this. I feel like all the
Oh,
signs, like you're just screwed no matter what you are,
yeah,
because like everybody's got like, you know, the memes. And somebody, like, I used to post those. I don't even post them anymore because as someone who's always offended, and I'm like, guys, it's just a joke. It's okay. Like
yeah.
it's fine, but
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
not even worth doing it. But yeah, and I think, you know, that's an important point
Yeah,
too. Like for some of these signs who always get, you know, kind of bashed, like, no, this book is telling you, like, these are the good things about it. You
yeah.
know, this is what you could do. And it's like, even here, like, there's a short list of cancer patterns. So, you know, it's just like, oh, you know, you could be just reading this. Or if you, like you said, you know, someone who's a cancer and you're like, oh, I'm just going to breeze through this. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is, oh, that makes sense. So you can understand the cancers around you
And
better.
support them
Right.
and or listen, I'm a folk magician. You can use this book in a very sneaky way if you want to get to a cancer's heart. Like, how do you do? You know what
Yes.
I mean?
Use
But I
all the
think,
resources.
but the idea is, I think one of the things I think water signs, and I have heard this is probably the most quoted back to me of that book by cancers is people saying, oh my gosh. I say in the book, water signs in general are not supported in our society. Think about it. They are the least supported in our society. We support air signs. You're super smart. That's great. We
Right.
support fire signs. You're super, go get energy. You're a go getter. Earth signs, you're going to stick with it. You're going to work on the practical things. What about the emotional, intuitive, feminine
Right.
energy of the water signs? People go, what's wrong with you?
You're so
So
emotional.
you're too emotional.
You're
You're just
so emotional.
weird. You're like dreamy. You're weird. So by saying that, like bringing that up and saying, look, the water signs are the ones that need the most support because we've been told in our society that your strengths are they're dismissed. And so
Right.
people who are cancers always come to me, and that's the thing. They go, you said this thing
Oh,
that
they
made
love
so much sense to me, and it made me feel affirmed.
right,
Their little
right.
hearts.
Well, you know, and that does make sense though, because again, like, just as a society, we've just been so trained to go get them, to make sure do it, do all the things and all. And like the emotional part of it, like, oh, we don't have time for that. Like, no, 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 we got things to do. We don't have time for that. But then you have also then all of these people just pushing all their emotions down and then like exploding one day. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, if you know, maybe you are feeling like that, well, you know what, find yourself a cancer and talk to them so that they can help you kind of process and bring out that emotion, because they're going to give you those like thought-provoking questions that you may need.
We can
And I think that's
cry
important.
together too.
Yeah,
We
there
can
you
cry together.
go.
I do that all
And
the
but
time.
that's, you know, it is, but that's something that is not, you know, celebrated. You know, and it sucks because we all have emotions, but yet here we are being, you know, oh well, just because you're emotional, so that doesn't matter, you know. But it does, because then, you know what, you guys are all a bunch of crazy messes because you're not even processing anything. And then the cancers are like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah, and that's maybe why you're that a little bit more in that dreamy, because you processed everything. You're good. You have time to do that. You cleared all the shit. So now you have time to like do what you want to do and just whatever, right? Like, so there's definitely different ways to look at it, but I
Yeah.
think that's important for people to think about. And and just even by reading this, even if you don't know one cancer, which everybody kind of everybody knows a cancer somewhere. Everybody knows everyone of the other signs, but I just think that just to understand of how you can use your emotions in your magical practice and not be so textbook with things
Yeah.
is really important. So just by even doing, even if, you're not, I mean, you have every sign in your chart, even though it's like hidden or whatever, but maybe if you look in your chart and see where the cancer is hiding in what house, maybe that is like your home and family, the house, over there. And so that's something that you can use that magic on to work on better. There's so many things that you can do with it. And I think that's what's important about just this whole series is like, get them all, because as you're working through stuff, like, maybe you want to harness cancer energy one day. So what am I going to do? I'm going to grab this book and that's what I'm going to work with.
Yeah, 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 exactly. Exactly. And they look so beautiful on a shelf, all 12. Well,
Yes.
I mean, when they get to
Right.
the ones, I don't think Pisces is out yet, but
No, Pisces isn't out. I mean, what do
I
I
think it
still
comes out
have
in a
Leo,
couple months or
yeah,
something. Yeah.
Gemini, Leo, Aries, Cancer, and I just got Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio.
Scorpio. Yeah, Scorpio. And then,
Hmm.
yeah, I think the
And
other ones are come.
Taurus. I
Yeah.
think I had Taurus. That was,
They started with Aries and they've been going in consecutive order. So if you,
oh, okay.
they're all the way, I know Scorpio just came out. And so
Yeah.
the rest of them are going to probably, they're kind of chunking them a
They're,
little bit, but
yeah,
they're,
spreading them out a little bit.
yeah.
Yeah. No, and that's what I know, because I just got a box from Marcus and those two were in there. So I'm like, oh geez, I gotta get going on this. I gotta get everybody lined up and do that for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think, and I think too it's cool that they had other people add in, like you said, their little, ideas and spells and whatever they added in here to, kind of throw that into the mix and give
Yeah.
that their perspective.
I love
So
it because it gives a variety of
mhm.
views and different things. And some of them are written, but most of them are cancers, but there's a couple people then there that are other signs that are contributing to more than one book. But it's just a really great, it's a great exploration and a really affirming one, especially for cancers, and a great way to understand cancers as well. So
Right,
yeah.
right. Yeah, and I'd like to in the back the resources and all that are on there, and that's like really, because usually like that's kind of hidden in the back of the book, but this is kind of like, hey, here's more stuff to read more about all the things, which is cool. I definitely like that too. So we also too, Marcus actually offered for us to do a giveaway. So I said that I was going to drop a secret word, and the person, who says it, who gets it first. Actually, I'm going to do a question. So, and whoever gets the question will win. You can either get the Cancer Witch, you can get, or Baba Yaga, which I have here too. So you get to
Uh,
choose which one you want, and then we'll send it to you. So my question is, how did Madame Pamita, where was she when she was asked to do the Cancer Witch book? So the first person who answers that will get a choice of either Cancer Witch or Baba Yaga, which I always have this book near me and handy because I absolutely love it. So, and it's so pretty. Like this cover, like guys, look at this cover. How gorgeous this is.
my gosh.
I just love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yaga
And look, this
Sarah did
is a
that. Oh
meaty
my God.
book. This is a meaty book. Like
It's
there's
100,000 words. It's a big ass book. But it doesn't feel like 100,000 words because you're
right,
going in a fairy tale and there's directions on how to do things. So it doesn't feel like you're reading a dense
right.
book.
Well, and
Oh, oh, oh,
they
someone got the answer.
got it. So
Squishy
squishy
bunny.
bunny. Squishy bunny, yay! All right, so the squishy bunny, go ahead and send me a private message and tell me if you want Cancer Witch or you want Baba Yaga, and your name and your address, and I will have that sent to you.
Yay, squishy
Yay!
bunny.
Yay! Fun. I love that name. That's so cute. I love it. I love it. That's so much fun. So why don't you go ahead and tell everyone where to find you and all that good stuff. And also too, guys, she's got a kick-in Patreon. So definitely consider taking a peek at that too. I just wanted to add that in. So yeah, go ahead.
Thank Well, my Patreon is coven.vip. It's just, that's the address, coven.vip, and it will take you right to my Patreon. My Patreon, I thank you for saying it's kick-ass. I think it's kick-ass. If I weren't creating my Patreon, I would be participating in it because I had a vision, like I think it's interesting and cool when people are like artists and creators and they get support through Patreon,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I'm also a business person and I want people to get value from the Patreon, not just to like, hey, support me, but
Right.
actually you're getting something. So we have things like readings, discounts, free events that are only available to Coven members. We've got they can vote on what candles we release. I
Oh,
mean, there's all kinds of things that they can participate in, and every like the dollar amount of what you're paying for your Patreon is less than the value of the things that you are getting. We've got, I mean, there's so many things. So if you want to like really immerse yourself and you want to be in my inner circle and hang out with me, join my Patreon because it's an opportunity for you to like do more things with me, deepen your magical practice, and get a great value. I mean, it's
mhm.
really, we always make it really, really like you get free classes and free things that other people have to pay for. So it's like really, really good.
No,
Oh, this is so nice.
yes,
Cry before it before I don't know what.
before and before. Oh, all right.
Candle Magic is my favorite book, madam.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much.
No, that is
Um,
definitely
that's
an
sweet.
awesome.
Um, so anyway, that's the Patreon. And then they can, of course, they can find me at Parlor of Wonders. It's PARLOUR because I'm fancy like that. Parlor of Wonders. And that's where you can find my classes and workshops. I've got some really amazing workshops. We have live workshops. We have on video on demand workshops if you want to take it in little segments. We've got events and things like that, as well as products, you know, like and readings and things like that. So we do spell services, we do tarot readings. I and my team. We also have beeswax figural candles. We've got oils. We've got all kinds of things that we make at the Parlor of Wonders as
Yeah.
well. So yeah,
No,
check it out.
and I can attest to that because I use all of her candles and I have a wall of oils that are all yours. So, because I do a lot of candle stuff too. So that's what I use. And also too, you have your monthly new moon candle service. And like I have the one where I get the kit. So, and I'm always posting them every month.
Beautiful videos that you do of making those candles. Oh my gosh, they're gorgeous. I always repost them whenever I see
Yeah,
them.
no, I know you do. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, no, I mean, I just, I just love them and I love sharing them, um, because I think, we do a lot of stuff, and I know this is kind of hot topic, even like, oh, is your magical practice online real or is it staged? And this is all this hoopla about it, and I have lots of thoughts and feelings, and that's a whole nother video. But I don't think there's anything wrong with showing what we do and how we do it, because I think it can be inspirational, and it can be, maybe somebody's watching it and they're just feel like crap and they don't want to do these things, and I'll be like, listen, drop an emoji if you want me to include your energy in it or whatever.
Mm.
Like you do it just to help out, like, and then, oh, and then maybe they're like, oh yeah, I was in that spell. Maybe that'll, help boost you out for the next one, or, you know what I mean? It's any of that. Hi, Jim. And
Oh,
so
Jim is
jump
going
in.
to be
Yeah,
coming
Jim just
here.
popped up. Oh, he is?
Yeah, he's going to be popping in the door any minute.
Oh, God.
But he's down in LA for the weekend. But
Oh,
here's the
cool.
thing I'll say about this, about magic that we put online. Magic that we put online is the tip of the damn
Yes.
iceberg. I mean, it's the tip of the iceberg. I can tell you every witch that is posting a spell, which I encourage people because that's how people can learn and experience and understand.
Yeah.
If we
Again,
keep
that's
everything
perspective.
secret, nobody's going to freaking learn
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah.
But for I can tell you, I can 100% guarantee that Jen is doing, she is showing 1%, if that, of the magic that she is doing
Yes.
online. So for those people, the haters that are going, you shouldn't have to spell online, it's like, I think those people, I think I get the essence that I get from that is envy and jealousy that somebody else is getting attention and not them.
Right.
And so that's why they're about
barking
it.
at.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, for
exactly.
sure. And like you said, it's so true. It's literally just a little bit. Oh,
Front door, Jim.
love you,
Front door.
Jim.
Front door, Jim.
Oh,
The
front
front door is
door.
unlocked. Front door. I said
Oh
front door. I don't
my
know how
God.
front became back door.
Oh God.
Come around to the front
Front
door.
door, Jim. But yeah, no, it is. And I think, really I like to do it because it's for those people that are just, maybe they're just in their kind of like just a magical rut right now. And maybe, sending that little extra energy and offering it to them.
Jim says I'm gay. That's how.
Yeah.
Back door.
Oh, Jim.
Jim
Oh,
always.
Jim.
Oh, he's gonna
That's
come and
so.
sit next to me. I'm gonna have. Can we hang out for 5 more minutes and then we'll
Yeah,
get some divine hand, Jim?
No, we'll let him join us for sure.
Yeah,
So
when he
yeah, but
figures out
anyway, so
the
she
difference between
had,
front and back.
yeah, Jim. But yeah, so the new moon spells every month, and then you have full moon, right?
Yeah, so
You have a
full
full
moon
moon.
we're doing classes. We did kits last
Uh-huh.
year about tools of magic. Like, so the full moon we were doing not candle spells, but we were working with tools of magic, mortar and pestle, witches runes, all kinds of different things. But this year I'm focusing on the magic behind the magic for the full moon workshop. So these take place the day before the full moon, and they are about energetics, working with energetics. So like we just had one about incantations and here he comes. Incantations. Come on in. We have, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. You're in my messy house, you guys. It's a, hi, Larry. You want to, oh, we have extra special guest, Larry here.
Hi.
Oh,
Everyone,
wait, we got to take
hello.
out my, so we can hear everybody.
Well,
Yes.
hi, everybody. How are we?
Hello. Good. How
So,
are you?
I'm magically delicious and surprisingly fat-free.
That's fantastic, and I believe every bit of that. Absolutely.
this is why Jim's down here is
Yeah.
because Larry makes big, can I say what you're doing?
Yes.
Big, gorgeous, amazing, fabulous drag queen earrings.
Yes.
That's Larry's whole
Really?
specialty. And so Jim and Larry are going to be selling big drag queen earrings in Long Beach
Yes.
this weekend.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
This is amazing because this is the first time we've met.
Yes. I've heard all about you. I know you.
Love
it.
Yeah, we've heard all about each other.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. Well, I hope you sell out of everything. Do
Oh,
you have a
I'm
website or
planning.
anything?
Yes, it's called madeforaqueen.com.
Oh my gosh, I love that name. Fantastic. Yeah,
Yes.
guys, so check it out.
Girl, I'm loving your hair colors.
Oh, thank you.
He
Thank you so
always has the best hair color.
My, well, hello, Miss Hair
Takes one to
Color.
know one.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. I got
Yeah.
all of these colors of
And
hair.
we coordinate and everything, so that makes it even better.
I love it. I
It's
love it.
fantastic.
Well, I love this. We were outside watching and listening to you girls, and it's fantastic. We've really been enjoying it.
Oh, good. Yeah, we always have fun. So for sure, I love it.
There's a kitty.
There is a kitty. She wants to go outside. And she's like, damn it, I missed my opportunity when the door was open. I'll let you go out. Don't worry. Jim will be back. Here's Jim. Come
Okay.
and sit, Jim.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I guess there's only room for, we'll just move everything over.
It's like the hot seat. I love it. I love it.
This is my super messy house, you guys.
I love your
That's
house.
why I said come into the living room. It's the only room this time.
Hi. Hi, Pam. Hi, Jen.
Oh,
We're gonna be. Hey, I want to make an announcement too that we're gonna be presenting at Reader Studio.
You heard it
awesome.
here first on Jen's Live.
That's
Exclusive. Pam and I are cooking up something super freaking cool
It's
Oh
gonna
my
be great.
for Reader Studio.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait. Yay.
I'm super
No, it's good for me
excited.
too because it's something that I don't have to fly to. I can actually just drive to it for once.
Yeah. The opposite for us. It's across the country, right?
Yes, that's usually me hiking it across. So it's nice to have you. But yeah, that's awesome. I'm excited about that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it's coming up quick.
I know.
It's
Yep.
like super quick.
6
So
weeks.
You're not going to be at Paginicon this year.
No,
Yeah.
I have a book to do. That's why.
You have a book to write.
To stay home.
that actually, I meant to look and see when is that Paginicon?
Paganicon's in March.
It's
usually.
March.
Yeah, March.
It is March.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Somebody told me it was in October, and I'm like, no, that's not
I'm
right. So it is
actually going to a different thing in March. I'm going to the I Can Do It in Arizona because I can drive. And that's where I'm going, the Hay House event. So,
Right.
yeah.
That's cool. Something different.
Yeah.
I love that. Awesome.
Yeah.
What have you guys been talking about? What's the topic you guys were talking about?
Cancer
Magic?
Witch.
Cancer Witch.
And Magical Tarot. Yeah.
And Baba
Yes.
Yaga and
A little
Magical
bit about Baba
Tarot. All the
You're so amazing, Pam.
She is. Absolutely.
My bestie over here will say every nice thing about me.
Okay, Brooke?
Oh, that's Glinda. Yeah,
Come here.
she gets cranky sometimes.
Oh.
There's Glinda.
Oh,
Look at her. Grumpy
so
Glinda.
pretty.
She's my familiar.
Come here,
Aw,
Glenda.
She's she wants to go outside, so she's just hanging out only for her own purposes to tell us that she wants
selfish.
to go
Oh
out.
my God, I love it.
I'm wearing
All right, well, I
all
will
black.
let you guys go ahead and go do your wonderful things, and I will see you actually all very soon.
It turned into like a phone call, FaceTime.
I know, I love that. It's just like this public FaceTime. I'm totally here for this whole thing. It's fantastic.
Jen, I adore you.
We'll
You're
see
so
you at
great.
Reader's Studio. I'm so happy.
Yes,
We'll
yes.
see you at Reader's
All right, you guys have fun. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye, everybody. Thanks for
Bye.
watching. Bye.